Alex.
Adam.
Alex, I need more energy than that. Alex,
Adam.
how are you?
I'm good. I just got to watch a 2 p.m. hockey game.
Man, I was at work and then I see in our many group chats someone going on about the Leafs losing. I'm like, what's going on here? Then I go to the Goat and I see
didn't lose.
the Flyers next gen game. It's just good concept, but like I guess just no one in Toronto got to watch the game if they were working today. Anyway, today's a special day, Alex. Curtis is here. Curtis, how are you?
Good. It's been a long time. I don't know how long it's been since my last appearance, but anytime I can hop on, it's.
I believe it was around.
Actually,
oh God.
It was about 9 months ago.
Okay, let me just put my feet up and
right.
enjoy the show.
Alex, I believe screen sharing is enabled, right?
Always.
All right, let's just quickly. I'm gonna play some audio before we get going.
Did you share the audio?
I was not prepared for this. Not prepared for this.
Did you share the audio as well?
Did I have to do both? Hold on a minute. We'll double check that. Share sound. Why is that not automatically done? Now, if you guys, my closest friends will tell you I hold a grudge. And I have been sitting on this.
Can I just point one thing about the fact that Alex looks dead inside, and the point this is paused at?
Let me. I can explain why I looked dead inside. So first off, it's March. Second, every episode I was getting berated by Adam about Ben Sherrod.
Was it for a couple months?
For a couple. We recorded twice a week. Okay,
but before
we're talking at least like 16 times. I feel a month. I've refused to hear the Joel Edmondson. I've refused. I know we're not even there yet.
That's Edmonton.
I've refused to hear about Joel Edmondson. I refused.
I do want to say that I was pretty spot on with what the Penguins were going to do in the sense of who they were re-signing. So I just want to pat myself on the back for that. But I'm interested to see what slander you bring up here. Let's go.
Slander. All right, let me just play this audio here.
Also, my hair looks terrible in that clip.
I mean, hey, you know what? You're gonna hear the quality of my mic then, and now you're gonna be like, Adam, where is it? But
the Penguins, they got a history of having a lot of injuries on the back end. Need a bit of grit, a bit of toughness. I mean, I think Ben Sherrod can work. I think.
So, man, I was waiting.
Okay.
I've been waiting for that. Can I just say I'm so happy that live on the podcast, I'm not the only one getting thrown Ben Sherrod trade requests.
Balmer got it too.
I'm so happy. Like today is my favorite.
Are you saying the market is hot for Ben Sherrod?
March 13th.
If Chikrin's down, they're Klingberg staying, but then the Stars, if Heiskanen's out too long with mono.
Also, that's a mistake. They should be trading Klingberg.
Yeah, I know. They're not going to win the game. But, the market could be some defensemen off the market. Big Ben Sherrod.
I think if you pay more than a 4th round pick for Ben Sherrod, you're sorely mistaken. And that's not the comment on him as being a terrible player, because as everyone knows, to be in the NHL, you have to be a good hockey player. But his best role is as a bottom pair defenseman.
Pause it for a sec. I want to give Curtis some credit there because he was correct.
Yeah.
Florida could barely beat Washington and then got their asses handed to them by Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure he was a -4 in that series, but continue.
He was a bottom pair player and it showed. Continue.
Now, there is yes.
Adam, look at me.
Yes.
He got carried by Shea Weber for a whole year. And now you want a 1st round pick for him?
Yo. Listen, I'm not the one asking.
Look at the analytics. It's objectively awful.
I'm just doing my part to campaign.
Terrible.
I'm just doing my part to campaign. He's a gritty. He's got leadership.
He is objectively awful. Have you seen his penalty numbers in the postseason? They go up.
I don't need to look at them.
Penalties. His penalty numbers go up in the offseason.
I watched him, man. I know.
Now, I'm gonna play a second clip here, if you don't mind. This is from our episode 125. Best day in Adam's life is the title of the episode.
I just want Curtis. I just want to point out I'm literally recording on campus. On
But
game.
I was about to say, I'm like, I recognize that couch you're sitting on.
Yeah.
And but I have to respect the grind, the fact that you have your mic with you, at least on campus.
It's wild.
Anyway,
Wild
I
times.
think you had it just because it was the trade deadline.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
or leading up to it.
Yeah.
I've said it before, like the window is so much big.
Oh, so you can see this if you're watching it on the video, but you can see my reaction that I've just seen the trade.
I don't think we
details come
can't
through.
see it. We can't
So-
see it for some
oh,
reason.
Okay, well, that's a shame. Anyway,
The magic of editing can let
but
us
you
see
can
it,
you
but
can hear it,
anyways.
right? You
I
can
can put it
hear
up there.
Daniel.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
So
I'm just
it's
giving
fun-
more work for Alex in post.
Ah, well, that's a problem. Now what's funny is we were waiting so long for the Ben Chirot return that you guys started talking about the Jays.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've said it before. Like the window is so much bigger now.
We got the return. Have traded Ben Chirot to Florida for Tyler Samaric, a 2023 first, and a fourth. Holy crap!
And they retain, and Montreal retains 50%.
Wow.
It was an hour 45 into the podcast.
that was long.
If
That was
you
long.
could not tell by the sound of my voice,
Yeah, no.
I was exhausted.
Listen. I just before we keep going here.
Man.
Now everything you said about Ben Chirot, Curtis, I will agree with, but I want an apology because they did get the first round pick.
You're not getting one. I said whoever was giving the first round pick was sorely mistaken. And look at Bill Zito. Look at the Florida Panthers right now. I'd argue that they're really bad. Like, well, they're not like really bad, but like they're in a worse situation than they were this time last year. Let's be
100%.
honest. Like
Yeah.
they made some
yeah.
pretty bad decisions. They went all in last year when they really shouldn't have. And now they don't have a first round pick for what? 3 years? 2 years? I don't know.
Three.
Long time.
Three more years.
Ask Florida Panther boy Alex Baumgartner. Like it's just, sure you were right,
Listen,
but you were just right. You were just no. Wait, Alex, shut up for a second.
I was
Respectfully.
right.
He was
all
right.
You were not right.
He was
The
right.
only thing you were right about is how dumb NHL GMs are.
This is true.
That's true.
Like,
Uh,
so sure. Congratulations. Half of the people working in the NHL are stupid.
Yes,
You were right.
Yes.
I love, by the way, that everyone thought that the market was set for the Josh Manson trade, and then everyone overpaid for defensemen afterwards, starting with Ben Chirot. And guess what? The Avs won the cup with that deal. So
Yeah.
good on Joe Sakic, by the way.
Yeah. There's like
Didn't overpay.
No.
Here's the difference. At least Josh Manson's a competent fourth to fifth defenseman.
Man,
Ben Chirot, no. Ben Chirot's like a 6th to 7th defenseman, and you paid a first round pick for him.
it's brutal. You
That's
should have seen
brutal.
my reaction when Detroit signed him. I was like, excuse me.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Sure.
Outside of the bit, in your heart of hearts, did you actually think that you were going to get a first round pick for Ben Chirot?
No.
Yeah.
No,
So-
of course not. Man, like it's just it was such a frustrating time watching him play. But I'll take. I think that pick became Philip Mayshar. If I'm remembering.
No,
correctly.
isn't it this year's?
Is it?
The
Yeah,
first
2023.
round pick? Isn't
Or
it
was
this?
Yeah.
Foley Mayshar?
Maybe because we're
Pretty sure it was a 2023 first round
yeah,
pick. So
yeah.
that'd
It's
be
this
the
year's
same.
first round pick.
Which is even
it
worse.
is. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because the big deal is because they're outside the playoffs right
Because
now.
last
Okay,
year's
then-
was went to Buffalo.
And the
Did it
one in
not?
2025 that has the most complicated trade stuff in history is Monahan. And no, so it was okay.
Yeah.
Tyler Toffoli became Mayshar. Okay.
Can I
See how-
just before we move on, I'd just like to add,
Yeah.
if an NHL general manager trades a first round pick for Joel Edmondson,
Or Xavier Bourgault.
yes, I want. You know what? I take back everything I said last episode about the cap. I hope Gary Bettman doesn't fix it. They don't deserve it.
No.
The GMs don't deserve it.
No.
I'll say it. And I'm so anti Gary Bettman. I called him the dictator of the NHL on the show last episode.
Yeah.
I did. I'm so anti Gary Bettman that, like, if they do that, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the more than $1 million increase.
Okay.
I just want to say that the hill I will die on, and we can clip this and you can bring it back next time I'm on
Yeah.
after the deadline.
Yes, we will.
Is if someone pays more than a second round pick for Luke Shen,
Oh,
that's like stop. And Alex, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your team.
no,
buddy.
man. No. They're looking for. They're not going after.
Leaf fans want Luke. Leaf fans want Luke Shen. I don't know why.
Yeah, not for a second round pick.
Daniel would give up a first.
Yeah, but that's Dan. That's an unfair comparison. Daniel loves Luke Shen. That's all I'm saying.
Again, all respect to Luke Shen, but like you know what? A third to fourth round pick, respectable trade. Both sides got something out of the deal. Vancouver can suck even more and go for Bedard, which also
no, they're not rebuilding. They're not rebuilding.
Sorry, Adam. I want Vancouver to win Bedard just because it'd be nice hometown boy going to his favorite team.
Yeah. I accept the Canadians are doing
also,
that.
I couldn't accept how insufferable or not. What is the word I'm looking
insufferable?
And how insufferable Canadians fans would be if they got Bedard. So I'm okay with him not going there.
Says the guy who cheers for the team, Sidney Crosby.
They were insufferable when they got the first overall pick and then didn't pick the guy that everyone thought they were gonna.
That was a tough year.
Yeah,
that was tough.
That was a tough one to eat.
Yeah, we're the team with Sidney Crosby, but do you want to know the last time we drafted in the first round?
Oh God,
this past summer.
Kasperi Kapanen in 2016.
Yeah, so over the summer, Owen Power, have some respect.
No. What?
Was he not
Pittsburgh?
Owen Power? Owen Pickering?
Sorry, Owen Pickering, yeah.
Oh.
Owen Pickering.
Maybe he was.
Yeah, come on.
Owen
Power. Sorry.
Owen Power. You just scared the crap out of all of Buffalo. You scared the crap out of all of Buffalo.
Sorry, no, I meant Owen Pickering. Yeah. So 2 picks in like 5 years.
Curtis,
you have 3 cups.
Yeah. Curtis, that Luke Shen bit's going to be the clip for today's episode. I've just decided.
So let's get into the main mashed potato, meat potatoes as to why Curtis is here. Curtis, you want to talk about the World Juniors, especially Connor Bedard, especially. So I'm not going to lie. I have not spent a lot of time looking towards the World Juniors because I have been busy. And it's just, Cole Caulfield's not going, so I don't care.
Do you want to know how much of a sick puppy I am? I've watched all of Team Canada's World Junior preseason games. So for all of you that are gonna say that I don't know what I'm talking about, at least I spent 5 hours of my life watching 2 World Junior preseason games.
Curtis, I gotta ask why.
Yeah,
because like I said, I'm a sick puppy. I don't.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: looking at the pre-tournament games, beside Connor Bedard, because I feel like he's the easy answer, what has stood out to you the most about this Canadian team?
Can I add one player as well? Let's take out Adam Fantilli. Okay, Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli. Those are the obvious guys to watch out for. So anybody but those two.
Adam Fantilli is kind of underwhelmed me so far. So if we want to talk about that, I can talk about that. I think he's kind of been a little bit underwhelming so far.
Sure, we can.
I just think that he hasn't looked sharp. Like, I think, a guy who in Michigan, like a lot of people are comparing Adam Fantilli to like the next kind of Rick Nash, a power forward that can, or Evgeny Malkin's another example of a player in the NHL that, uses his strength to his advantage. And I haven't seen him do that against people his own age, where the 6'3", 200 pounds forward should be really using the body to get around people. Haven't seen that. I mean, it's preseason, so maybe, like, to be honest, I feel like Team Canada hasn't really been trying, as evident by Shane Wright scoring on his own goal against Slovakia. Man, that guy's had a rough year. Like, I know he scored a couple of times in preseason, and I know we don't want to talk about the obvious people, but if we're looking at one person that I'm curious on this Team Canada team, it's Brant Clark. And there's a couple reasons for this. One, he tore up the OHL last year. Pretty sure he was the highest scoring OHL defenseman last year at the end of the year and was on a really good Barrie Colts team. Second of all, he didn't get invited to either camp last year. So the first round, the winner, not even an invite to camp. Summer, when, a lot less players came because of NHL camps and such. he wasn't invited back again. And so you would think, you know what, Hockey Canada just has something against him, and they're not going to bring him back. But they offered him the invite. The LA Kings loaned him, and now he's here, and he's looked really good in these first 2 games. I think he's going to be the best offensive defenseman for Team Canada, except for Zellweger, which I know our Ducks fan isn't here, but who I think is one of the most underrated Ducks prospects in their system right now. Those 2 guys are going to be the offense from the back end, and I think Brandt Clarke's going to be a big deal for that reason. And I think that he's got he's got a chip on his shoulder. He hasn't had a great start in the NHL and AHL combined. He's a -4 to start the year. And I think he's going to want to show that he deserves not to get sent down to Barrie. Like, what he's going to be playing for here is to not be sent back to Barrie and to be called back up to the Kings. And for those reasons, I think he's the guy to watch. He's the guy with the most on the line.
Yeah, Brandt Clarke has a special place in my heart. I'll explain why. So he was 2021 draft pick, right? Or 2020?
2021?
2021.
Okay,
Double check. Yeah. So the reason he has a special place in my heart is every year before his draft year in the NHL video game, he was always in the second round, and he was the easiest guy to pick because you knew he was going to be a medium elite potential. So I always picked him. So a special place in my heart for that, but also because imagine, like, I think it's such a great story that he didn't make the junior roster back in August, went to NHL camp, made the LA Kings out of camp, whose right side is what people keep saying is a little bit clogged at the moment, and now kind of twisted Hockey Canada's arms into essentially bringing him to the World Junior. So I think that's a great story. I want to ask, there's one position
Alex, before you keep going, 8th overall 2021.
Crazy. Not a second round pick like the NHL video game said for years. I want to talk, there's one position that I think for the last couple of years have been, I don't want to say it's been underwhelming, but there's been a lot of questions around it, and that's goaltending. Yeah. Now there's 2 guys, they brought 2 guys with them, Benjamin Goudreau and Thomas Milic. I don't know if I said their names right, but I think so. Who do you think, like, who takes the starter's crease at the start of the tournament?
If we're going off the first 2 games of preseason, because even Team Canada at this point doesn't know who their starter is, which I don't know if that's a concern, if that's something you want to flag, but I think Team Canada is one of those teams where their defense, in my opinion, is so stacked this year that it doesn't really matter who you put in net as long as they can make a timely save. I think that's Dylan Goudreau for them right now. I know that he didn't get the shutout, but I'd argue he did, because if Shane Wright didn't shoot that puck right into the back of his leg, he would have had a shutout, and they would have had that big win against Slovakia. And I think that, I know it's nothing against, I'm blanking the other goalie's name. Dylan Goudreau. Milic. It's Milic.
Milic.
Dylan Goudreau made some really nice saves at the beginning of that Canada game where they took 3 penalties. He had to make, I would say, about 3 or 4 nice saves, like above average in quality saves against, what I think is a really underrated Slovakian team. Obviously, it fell apart for them in the 3rd period against Canada, but a team that showed that they could hang around with who I think is the clear favorite for the gold medal. So, I think Dylan Goudreau is going to be the starter. That's not just because he's the one drafted goalie that Canada's brought. I just think that he looked good in that second game. And I feel like they're going to split this game against Finland here on Friday between both of them. And I feel like in the end, Goudreau, who is played for Team Canada in the U18s and U17s, will get the call.
There has been, I don't know if there's been as many sort of junior players that have been turning as many heads as Logan Stankoven has the past couple of seasons. Besides the fact, responding to GMs of fans, Habs fans saying, drafted the wrong Logan. What have you made of his tournament so far?
I mean, that second line really picked it up. I know that the second line was called out after that first game for not being as offensive, and I think that's understandable because it was just kind of a magic show of a first line performance in that first game against Switzerland between Bedard, Shane Wright, and that whole top line group. And I think that Slavkovin and Gunther really performed in that first game. Dylan Gunther had many opportunities, didn't capitalize on a lot of them. But I think just them along with Adam Fantilli looked really good in that second game. I think I'd want a little bit more out of Adam Fantilli, like I talked about earlier. But I think Slavkovin looked good. Like he's a guy that can score, but also is a really good passer and can set people up, and that's what Dylan Gunther needs, and that's what he's going to get in this period is an A+ passer and an assist man.
Listen, I would be, shameful if I didn't ask about easily the man who will lead Canada all the way. He doesn't have the C, but he probably should. The Kingslayer, some would call him. What have you made of Joshua Waugh?
Joshua Waugh.
Yeah, man. Come on.
That's a name that I don't think a lot of people know about. I think he's an interesting name because I think if Canada doesn't have that summer tournament, I don't think he makes his team. I think his camp in the summer really turned some eyes at Hockey Canada after his great performance with the Quebec Ramparts in the QMJHL season. And I think he's just carried on that momentum into this December where he's made the team. And arguably, he was Canada's best player all around in that game against Slovakia. So, Waugh is one of those guys where obviously you want to see what happens because he's not going to have the top line ice minutes, which, that's just the way that Team Canada goes. There's some players like Waugh that could probably be first, second line guys on 90% of the teams in this tournament, but are going to be third, fourth line guys. But I think he fits that role so well because he's able to play both ends of the ice. He's able to block shots, but he's also able to, put the puck in the net when Canada needs some depth scoring. And I think if they're going to beat an American team, that's how they're going to beat them is with depth scoring. And I think Waugh's going to be a huge part of that.
It's difficult to maybe see him really getting PP one time, but that's a guy who, in a cinch, like that's a power play player. That's probably what he's going to be in the NHL one day. By the way, Sherbrooke, not the Ramparts, by the way. Sherbrooke, my favorite non-NHL team because I just love that jersey. It's so nice. That's so nice. Go ahead, Alex.
I feel like I know what the answer is going to be here, but I'm going to ask the question anyways. What's a success? What's a successful tournament for Canada?
Gold medal.
Yeah, but more than that. Is there anything more? Because I feel like here's the thing with the World Juniors. I think as Canadians we walk into the tournament.
No noise off the ice.
No noise off the ice. Oh yeah, that's a good point. But okay, that's you stumped me there.
It took you a second there.
You stumped me there. It's a good point. But I mean, I think we walk into this tournament, and I think expectation is always to win. I mean, we don't always do it, but I think that's the expectation. Is there anything of hope to look out at the end of this tournament and say, wow, we were good at this or something, just other than getting gold? Is because that's always the expectation. Is there anything more than winning gold?
Well, I don't know. Maybe some people won't agree with me, but I feel like they're in the easier of the two groups to start off. So I think for me, it's just, absolutely running through the competition. I think, Germany's going to be hurting because a lot of their top players are now NHL players. They don't have that depth they had a year or two ago, with those great players like Seider and Stutzla and all those guys. So I think they're going to be hurting. I think Czechia is going to be one of those teams that could actually surprise and maybe finish second in this group. And then you have Austria that are, let's be real, they're basically in this tournament because of Russia being suspended. So yeah. And I have questions about Sweden. Sweden doesn't have the top end talent, in my opinion, that they've had in past years. I mean, they always have, in my opinion, one of the better goalies going to the tournament. And this year, that's Carl Lindbaum of Vegas Golden Knights prospect. So
They still have those?
Yep. The Golden Knights actually have more prospects in this tournament than you expect.
No, I'm sure. But thought they traded them all away.
And then like a guy like Oscar Pettersson is another guy to watch out for on forwards for Sweden. But I just think that this is a team that, yes, they have a lot of high end talent, but it's not as high of talent or as how can I phrase this? As highly looked upon talent as they've had in the past. And I just think Canada's lineup is just, as I wrote in the beginning of my article, probably one of the better ones that we've seen in the last decade. I think just from top to bottom, I know a lot of people might disagree with me. I just think people underrate how good their bottom six is going to be this year. And I think that's a large part to guys like Patrick Waugh and, guys like Brendan Ottoman who went out, but could flip-flop around the lineup, whether that's in the top line or in the bottom six. And guys like Zach Dean, another Vegas Golden Knights prospect, who, have shown flashes of being really good depth pieces. And it's just going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward here. And I think all those players have a really good chance to, kind of make their name value that much more in this tournament and also make the teams that drafted them look really good.
Yeah. Is there a sleeper team at this tournament? The team we should look out for?
It's definitely like, okay, if we want like my like dark horse
sure,
where it's like if they win, it'd be shocking, but I think they could do it. It's Slovakia. I think Slovakia has some good young talent. I think they can surprise. I don't know if they're gonna beat Finland or USA getting out of that division, but I think they're gonna be in that third spot. And then like the reason for that is look at Simon Nemec, a guy arguably could be one of the top 2 or 3 defensemen in this tournament. And that's a big part of your team right there. And then Patrick, I might be butchering this, but Andreski has looked solid in their 2 preseason games. So I have high hopes. And Phil Messer, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with the foreign guys' names, but they got one really good player, in my opinion, at least, in each position that can help them win. And we've seen teams carried by goaltending, and I think that Patrick for Slovakia is going to make a big name for himself because I was impressed by his performance against Canada despite letting in, those 5 goals.
Listen, it was going to be too easy if Slavkovsky went, so we thought I'll back up and I'll give everyone else a chance. Guys, now, Alex, I only got to the part when you actually called Gary Bettman a dictator last episode. Couldn't make it because I was sick. So I'm assuming you guys did get to the point where you discussed that Lane Hudson was on the American team. Did you guys get to that or no? No? Okay, because I want to dedicate some time to the short king, Lane Hudson. Because I'm looking at the States rosters. We haven't talked about them yet, which is a disservice.
He's the short prince.
That is sorry. Yeah. That is. He's a successor on the back end. He's going to be there. Don't worry. He'll be the best. Honestly, when they get there, he could be their best D, the quarterback, the power play since Andrei Markov. It's really disheartening to see, actually. Listen, there are some big names on this American.
PK Subban?
Sorry?
Not PK Subban?
Yeah, but PK was the big shot, but he wasn't he wasn't the sort of IQ of the whole play. That was always Andrei Markov. That's why they called him.
And they didn't like him enough in Montreal.
I don't think they liked either of them by the end because Bergevin sucks. We'll get to that. We'll get to that though. Okay. The Americans are always a sort of. I mean, it's the Americans. I don't think I need to say too much. But we talk about how good the back end is for obviously the Canadians. But if you look on the other side, there is Lane Hudson, there is Luke Hughes, and up front there is Logan Cooley. There are guys that I can ignore Tyler Boucher because I think we're all so confused.
Come on.
But
sorry.
Come on now. Mike's not gonna.
How about Tyler Clevin? Is he still there?
Man, is Tyler? Stop it. The best name in the tournament with Red Savage, by the way. They never disappoint. It's almost as good as Yvonne from a couple of years ago. How big of a threat are the Americans this year? This probably isn't looking as stacked as that famous roster that had Caulfield in that stunned the Canadians in the finals. Most satisfying moment in World Juniors history, in my opinion. But how strong are the Americans?
They're obviously the biggest adversaries of the Canadians, and they're going to give them the biggest challenge. I think that similar to Canada, their goaltending is very, not want to say questionable, but interesting. None of them have really stand out except for Memaruk, who's looked good for Colorado this year in NCAA. But there's no like powerhouse goalie like they've had in the past, like Knight, or if we want to go back farther, Hellebuck, or Gibson when he played in the World Juniors. Like all those guys were top end talent goaltending wise coming out of America, and they just don't have that this year. So that's their biggest weakness. But when we look at this team, I really like their D core. Lane Hudson was actually a guy I was going to bring up, but since you already kind of talked about him, Luke Mittelstadt's another guy that I'm going to be watching this tournament. Wasn't drafted, and I think has a chance to be drafted this time around. He's a little bit shorter in size, 5'11", another short king. To someone to consider for defense. And I think he's a guy that has looked good in the preseason and might turn some heads, especially in the scouting world during this tournament, just as, a really mobile, really quick defenseman that, is kind of like a Luke Hughes light in some ways, just a little bit smaller. Where this team kind of is interesting is that they don't have many 19-year-olds in the squad this year. Obviously, 19 is the max you can be, but I think like the guys they're gonna be relying on, like Cooley, like where is his name? Like, okay, we'll just say Cooley for now. Yeah, like those guys are all younger, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see if they can take the torch. I think that they're gonna be really good. I think that it's gonna be a very anticlimactic tournament as Canada and US are gonna run through this tournament. But I could also see that, goaltending being an issue for both of these teams once it comes into the medal rounds. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Americans. But other than that, I think, obviously they're a great team and their strengths, in my opinion, is going to be defense. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Can we go back a little bit to something that Adam brought up? And it's Daniel and I talked about it last episode. But I think I just want to bring it up again. Should have the Canadians sent Uri Slafkovsky to the World Juniors?
All right. I'm going to answer this really quickly. Is it better for him to play any? Here's the thing. If he gets benched for another game and he gets taken off the power play again, he should have gone. But if he can play consistent top 6 minutes and on the power play in NHL level, I think it's more beneficial, in my opinion. It's just giving him time.
I think a better question is, did he want to come back? I know a lot of players that once they get the taste of the NHL, they really don't want to go back to the World Juniors because, that's one step from, I know for Slafkovsky, because he's not a Canadian or American-born talent that played in the CHL, he's allowed to go to the AHL. But does he really want to get that demotion? I think any time he can spend in the NHL is valuable for him. Would I have liked to see him in the tournament? Yes, I honestly think if Slafkovsky's in this tournament, Slovakia has a chance at a medal, which it might be a hot take, but I think that they have enough pieces that they could, obviously they'll beat Latvia. I think they're going to beat Switzerland, but I think they could contend with Finland once that happens. Finland's obviously a really good team. Now I'm not going to knock them, and that's who Canada's going to play next. But I think that they will be able to hang around with the Finland team if they have Slafkovsky, which is an obvious answer. But yes, selfishly, I think Montreal should have sent him. It's not like Montreal's doing anything this year. Why not give him one more run at some glory, and why not help with the Cinderella run for Slovakia?
Here's another thing for the thing of Slafkovsky maybe wanting to go. This is actually, the juniors are a downgrade for him. Remember, this is a guy and his draft stock mainly raised in Worlds and Olympic play. I wonder if mentally to him, he's talked about how much he just loves playing in the NHL. Maybe that's that thing of, I've been above that stage. Again, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but if he shows up, he's captain.
Oh, 100%. Right. Oh, yeah.
I fully get both of your points. And I'd argue you're right. If he's not going to play, if he's going to get rocked every game, then send him. But if someone's got to figure that out. All due respect. But
right. One thing I did want to say before we moved on is Shane Wright really needs to pick up his game right now. I know it's really early in a player's career, but he's had a rough couple months, and I don't know. Like, sure, he's played fine with the Coachella Valley Firebirds in the AHL, and he scored his first goal against the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL. But I just don't know. I don't see him as being NHL ready right now, and I think this is his time to prove it. And playing with a guy like Connor Bedard's always going to make you look good. And who would think that? I think there's a reason why Team Canada has Bedard and Wright on the same line. And I think that, maybe Shane Wright needs a little bit of a boost to get him in that good mojo right now. And I think that playing with Bedard helps him.
So I agree. Like I don't necessarily think he's NHL ready either. I just also don't think he should go back to the CHL. Like I think he's in the middling territory of being too good for the CHL and not being good enough for the NHL.
Which is the reason why the NHL really, really needs to look hard in the mirror about their relationship with the CHL.
And all three of us can agree that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because they care too much about the CHL because they provide a lot of they provided most of their draft talent.
But there has to be some recognition.
I'm going to push this forward here just because this sounds like an episode we had a month ago.
Probably.
It's just the discussion of him playing there. It was a whole thing. So we'll move on. But listen,
I honestly argue that if they traded him to a top contender that's going to the Memorial Cup, he should get sent down.
Yeah, and hey, anyway, discussion for another time. I doubt this is the last conversation we'll have about Shane Wright.
No.
I hope he has a good tournament, though. I really do. I do. Anyway.
I don't believe you.
And I do. I wanted him to have lots the episode, man. So I think that's a good way to wrap up the World Juniors. You want to talk about the Penguins a bit?
You know me, I'm always down to talk about the Penguins.
So at the start of the year, we were a little worried, but I think we kept the mindset of the Penguins are going to figure this out. They are 8-1 in their last 10 and currently sit in the playoff spot. Fun fact, if they actually win both their games in hand, oh no, it's only one game. So if they win their game in hand, they're 2 points behind the Devils. What happened from the start of the year to now, and what clicked for the Pittsburgh? I don't think anyone is surprised because it's the Pittsburgh, it's Sidney Crosby. But what has changed?
Well, I don't think it's just that one down and then up. It's been they were bad to start the season, and then they went on like an 8-game winning streak. And then they were bad, and now they're on kind of a heater now. And they just had a really big win against New York the other night, and they're going to play against Carolina as we're recording right now tonight. And I think that's going to be a big statement win. Obviously, they lost to Carolina the previous game before the Rangers in a game where they really could have won that game. They were up 2-1, gave 2 goals up in the third period, and honestly hit a couple posts where, in another universe, another world, that's a win for the Penguins. So, but I think the big difference is Chris Letang. Like, I don't think people put enough respect on Letang's name as one of the better defensemen in the NHL. And it's so sad to see, like, he's never, no matter, like, that guy just has the shittiest luck when it comes to, like, heart problems, breaking his leg, concussions. Like, he had something with his ribs a couple years ago. Like, you name it, he's had it. So if we have him in the lineup, I'm confident win this core. And obviously, there's parts of this team that if I'm Brian Burke, I'm looking to upgrade at the deadline, and one of those things being the bottom of the defense core. And, Pierre-Olivier Joseph has not looked good. And no, don't tell me Luke Schenn's going there for a first-round pick.
No, not even first. Right or left side?
You need lefty or righty?
I honestly think also the John Marino trade.
No.
Was a horrible trade.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
You know what though? That balance it. Well, it doesn't completely balance it out, but like at least let's talk about another trade. At least Jeff Petry's playing hockey games right now.
But and actually,
Jeff is a figment of my imagination.
I actually want to say Jeff Petry's looked pretty good.
Okay, but let me ask you this question. Would you rather have Jeff Petry or would you rather have John Marino?
David Savard.
Because I have my answer, and I
It's
know
John Marino.
it's John Marino. Listen, if it's John Marino, I don't even think it's a question.
I mean,
But
Ty
again-
Smith's a good prospect, but the fact that they expected him to come in a system where, unlike the Devils, he was going to have free reign in a top 4 role was stupid.
Yeah. But they did
Like-
it. But the thing is, though, it felt like they weren't trading for Ty Smith. It felt like they were trading John Marino so they could bring in Jeff Petrie. Am I wrong? Like, is that wrong to say that? Not like Jeff Petrie made more money, but that's what happened.
No. This is there's 2 split down the middle in Penguins fandom.
Okay.
Some people think that it was to replenish the farm system because a lot of people still consider Ty Smith to be a prospect.
Mhm.
And they also got a 2nd round pick. So they're like, okay, they want picks, they want a prospect. And why did we trade our best youngest defenseman for that? Good question, guys. I don't know. I don't know what Berkey and Hextall are doing up there sometimes, but I think that's probably one of the worst trades, besides maybe the Kapanen trade in the last 5 years the Penguins have made. So, we'll start there. But I think, if this team's gonna really, really contend for a cup, either Ty Smith's got to get called up and look good, or Pierre-Olivier Joseph has to look better, and he's not looked he's looked fine. He's looked very serviceable. Is he an NHL player? Yes. Is he gonna make a difference on your bottom pair? No. So if we're looking at a place where the Penguins really, really need to upgrade its in defense, and because what else are we gonna change? Goaltending, I've been really happy with Jari. He's won. I think he's now 9-0-1 with his win against the Rangers the other night. Obviously, just Smith is, that could be a running theme with the podcast that I've appeared on, that he hasn't looked so hot. And I don't know how much help you're going to get in the backup market. Who's a goalie that's going to be available that's really going to outperform DeSmith, who has a subpar save percentage right now? I don't think anyone. There's no one that comes to my mind.
Would you like Sam Otto?
Oh my god,
Sam Otto!
Oh my god,
you guys need a goalie. You guys can keep.
I'm gonna leave the podcast.
Bumbo's been good this year. What are you talking about?
I'm going to leave the call.
Just so that I stop getting Montreal Canadiens requests, I hope the Canadiens become good again.
What about James Reimer?
James,
it's funny you say that because
still have 3 goalies.
It's funny you say that. I was just about to say the only person I would want them to trade for is James Reimer, because when he's healthy, he's looked really good.
You know who else has 3 goalies?
Who?
The Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah,
but they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna trade in division.
No. Also, I don't think they're going to trade any of their goalies.
Well,
I think
I'm not convinced.
Well, Ronta and Freddie are UFAs, right? We talked about that. And Chekhov, that guy, Patar, has obviously taken the net. Pator Kochek, I can't say it.
Did you see that interview where the fans were cheering at him and he was like, more improved English, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
See, Curtis. That's more work for you. Can't swear.
Oh, we're not allowed to swear on this podcast?
No, you've never been able to.
It's okay.
Wait,
Alex.
No. I'm just gonna bleep it out. I'm just gonna bleep it out. I'm just gonna bleep it out. If we do it again, I'm just gonna bleep it out.
Can we do the last time? Because I really
the duck. Yes.
Can we do the quack noise?
Yeah, if I can find
bleep?
it. Yeah, I'll find it.
You gotta have it somewhere.
It's somewhere on my computer.
All right, sweet.
That was a really bad dolphin. I'm not gonna do that.
That was a dolphin. That sounded like the girl that hit her hip on the bed frame in that TikTok trend.
Oh man,
I don't have TikTok, so I don't know what that means.
Good, don't get it.
Don't get it. It's addicting.
Don't get it.
But I love how we mentioned Chris Letang's thing. You mentioned his injuries, all that, and ignoring the fact that he's had 2 strokes and still continues to be a elite defenseman. That man is not. You know what? If we're talking about renaming trophies, if you're gonna redo the Masterton and maybe edit it's sort of what it means, I don't know the full story of Bill Masterton, But like Chris Letang's got to have some sort of way on that. Like that man's been through so much.
Yeah, him or Craig Anderson. I think there's kind of a ring to being the Craig Anderson award, but yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see if I can find the reason. I'm sure if Daniel was here, you know the reasoning.
But I work at the freaking Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, you should know. Oh my god, yeah, you should.
I don't care about that award. So and neither does many people.
No.
So.
Hey.
They don't. They don't.
No,
don't even.
on,
No. Adam. Before last year, you did not care. Do not.
No, before Carey Price won it, I could care.
Do not. Don't even try to argue this one because I know we're gonna get into a debate later, and that's gonna be my same argument.
So can I flip some? You guys have been asking me questions.
Yeah.
Can I flip some questions on you guys and talk about your teams?
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll start with the Leafs and Alex. We'll make him work first.
Okay. I wore this Royal City shirt for you. Okay.
That's the only reason you wore it, or because
it's half my wardrobe. Okay. CBL merchandise.
The free merch. I think my first question for you is obviously, Lindgren and Sandin was big question marks going into this year for Toronto. Are you confident in what they've done so far this season? And B, do you think the Leafs need to upgrade at defense?
Last year, if you asked me last year, that's what I thought they should have upgraded on. Like I thought that was the big thing they needed to do. This year, I'm not necessarily as concerned. I think if you look at this stretch where their top three defensemen were out and being Muzzin, Riley, and Brody, I'm less concerned. I think you look at what Sandin and Liljegren in particular have done. Connor Timmins, who's come in and he's been okay, which is essentially for a third pairing guy is all you really need. I don't think you need to galaxy brain your third pair. I really think, and I think now with Nick Robertson being out, I think now more than ever, you need to find yourself a second line left winger. That's it. That is the position.
Do you want my coffin?
No, Adam, I'd rather die than trade for my coffin.
Evgeny Dodonov.
No.
I have a more ludicrous one. Ilya Mikheyev? Question mark?
Oh.
No, because
What if Vancouver retains 50%? So he's a $2 million guy.
Okay, but that's never gonna happen. But I'd consider it because
if you gave them enough picks, they might.
I don't think Vancouver want picks.
I don't think Vancouver want picks. I don't think Vancouver's an actual trading partner here because they want what Vancouver they want to do.
Want picks.
Yeah, but they're not rebuilding, so all this means nothing. I think if you look at what their needs are, I think having an extra defenseman would be nice. But I think your number one priority is to have a solid second line left winger. Like I think that's what's kind of killed them the last couple of years.
And my second question is, are you confident in the goaltending? Because it has been good recently.
I'm confident. I'm listen, before they even signed him, I said the Leafs should go out and get Ilya Samsonov. I'm confident in Ilya Samsonov. Matt Murray's the question mark for me, like at this point. Like his game, he's had a couple shaky games. Like I think his first game and the game he had a couple nights ago against Tampa Bay weren't fantastic, but I think all these other games, like again, the issue is we're talking about sample size. He's played 11 games, I think, this season. So like it's hard to say, but I don't think you're going to go out there and get another goalie right now. I don't think that's I don't think you're going to go out and upgrade in net. Who's available, right? That's the question. 12 games.
12 games, 925 save percentage.
No, it's ridiculous. He's having his best statistical season since his first year in Pittsburgh. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Again, I don't know if this is going to last.
It does make sense for me because I think in Pittsburgh, okay, there's 2 points. This is from the Penguins perspective. And yep. I think I'm not a psychiatrist, but after his dad died, he never played the same.
No.
And he never had that closure. And then when
No.
he went to Ottawa, he finally had that closure, but didn't have a good team in front of him. That's a key thing.
And an organization as a whole. Frankly, like, let's be real. Let's be real about Ottawa. Like, let's be real about Ottawa. He did not have a good organization behind him.
Speaking of which, I thought they'd be a little bit better this year, but you know, that's what it is.
The rebuild's over.
Yeah. No,
I didn't think that, but like,
no, well, it's Pierre Dorian for 2 years.
Shout out Mark Mathot going, they're gonna pass the Habs soon.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they should.
Was it? Yeah.
What a name, Mark Mathot.
Mark Mathot. Oh man. Whatever.
I'm only relevant because I played with Eric Carlson.
That's not true. He played well in Dallas when he got traded.
No one remembers Mark.
No one remembers. Yeah, come on. No, you're a sick man. You're a sick man. You're a sick man. You're a sick man. You started this podcast saying you're a sick man. I will. That's gonna be the
Dallas Stars legend.
I'm a sick puppy.
I will say though, if we're walking into the playoffs and Samsonov and Murray are on equal footing, which I think right now I'd argue they are, I put Murray in that.
I would too.
I think, you know what he does? And this, I know I'm going to get crap for it, but it's just a fact. He's going to show his knuckles, and he's going to show 2 Stanley Cup rings. And Samsonov's going to show what? No offense to say, I'm Team Samsonov all the way. What has Samsonov done in the playoffs?
Clips of Ovechkin, calling him out.
Yeah, right?
And he's only on a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
Whereas Murray, you have him for a couple more years, so you kind of want to run with the guy that's more long term.
Yep.
All right,
that's
now
my
going
answer.
to Montreal. Montreal's a little bit. Montreal's more of a doom and gloom scenario here. So
yeah, I'm vibing this season.
We're gonna get in, what is an ideal trade deadline in your opinion? And don't meme this. I just want you take it down a notch.
Yep.
Actually, be reasonable. What's a good trade deadline for the Montreal Canadiens?
I think first off is Sean Monahan gets moved for a good pick. I think if we're being realistic, if anyone could fetch a first round pick, I think it's Sean Monahan. I think he's played really, really well. Sorry?
You think he's played really, really well?
I think he's been one of the most consistent Habs this year. He's injured right now, but he's been.
That's not saying much, buddy. It's the Habs. That's not saying much.
Man, in a third line role that he's been in, he's been producing. He's been good. But if we're being realistic, I think if you look at UFAs and that, if anyone's going to get it's probably Sean Monahan. I've been marrying him in Colorado this entire year. I really think he could be a good center option for them. Besides that, it's really just move to Donov if you can get something for him. Jonathan Drouin needs just a new place. I've even given up on him. If you can move Mike Hoffman or Josh Anderson, I think that has come, but I feel like Hoffman's probably more an off-season move, but it's legit just clear more room for young guys to come up. And this isn't a trade, but I think every Habs fan wants a Cole Caulfield extension soon, but really it's just move Monahan, move to Donov, move Jonathan Drouin, and if you can move some other cap space along the way, it's not as dire as they were sort of looking last year. And now that we know Carey Price is probably never playing again, it's a lot easier. But I think it's just sort of get more picks, man.
By other cap space, you mean Joel Armia?
Yeah, and Joel Armia, but that one's looking difficult. Joel Armia is difficult to do. That's one that you just, man, there is no player that is a bigger trick than Joel Armia. It just, man, here's what's funny, right? Is last night, was it last night? My memory is so screwed.
Colorado?
Yeah, in that game, Richard scored. Anthony Richard, the 26-year-old. I don't need to tell you how special it is to see. He's not related to Maurice, obviously, but to see a Quebecois named Richard score a goal in the Habs uniform is cool. But then you realize, as I quickly put my thing on Do Not Disturb, that he now in 2 games has more goals than Armia, Drouin, and Jake Evans do in the entirety of the season. So, yeah, but to go to your question, more picks, please.
My second question is a kind of obscure question because I'm a goalie nerd, and this is a guy I kind of lost track of. What's going on with Caden Primo? Why is he not in the NHL right now?
man, I tell people that I still believe in Caden Primo, and I get told that I'm a dying breed. First off, it hasn't been really talked about a lot, but the Rocket this year have been awful. First up, simple question: why is he not in the NHL? He's not ready yet. You know what? I'll give credit to Mark Bergevin for this. They had a very clear cut plan of getting a lot of AHL games for Caden Primo. It's a shame because in games, but then when they called him up, they put him in these weird scenarios. His first career win was against, I think it was Ottawa, and then
Wasn't
there
it
was
Colorado?
no, his
wasn't
first
that his,
game was
oh,
against,
that was his first game. Oh,
I was at that game.
yeah, you
It was
were.
not his first career game, but he played well. But ultimately, it was the Avs, and the Avs were bad that year. But then there was that season where I can't remember which one it was, and they within a week they played the Leafs and they played the Sens, and instead of playing Kane Primo against the team he got his first win against, and the Sens, they played him against the Leafs, and you just knew it wasn't going to go well. Now this was
that the bubble year?
I was thinking maybe it was, but he's just not ready yet. Unfortunately, it was awful. I know. I think it was the bubble year, Alex. Like he was great in the AHL playoffs last year, and just this year the Rocket had been so pissed. Like here's the thing: he's 23, which I think for a lot of prospects, that's when you start really expecting the sort of you really make a name for yourself. But goalies, you never know. I'm not ready to give up on Caden Primo yet. But I would imagine the perfect scenario, they want to get him into games probably towards the end of the year. But he's just not ready yet, man. Like, we got to remember, this guy is a great story. Like, he's a 7th-round pick. Like, I think he played for Northeastern, and that's still like a big Northeastern fan. He puts stuff on his Instagram all the time. But, Habs fans aren't known for their patience. I think we still got to let it breathe. And you know what? I wonder if Jake Allen getting that extension was sort of more insurance to either give Primo time or have a better plan to look at long-term goaltending. Because right now, Caden Primo isn't a sure enough thing. Where now they don't know what they're doing in net for the first time in my lifetime, really, when you think about it.
I will say,
before Jose Teodor, it's that bad.
So I will
93 save percentage the AHL. So like it's not like good, but it's not like bad. Like it could be for the AHL, which is kind of a run and gun league. It could be a lot worse.
I will say it's not just Montreal fans with the patience. I think that's a Canada thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Alex. Big markets in general, just they don't like it.
Except New York, they're the most calm.
Oh yeah, of course. Hey, Mike. Yeah, the Rangers. Yeah, no question.
Pittsburgh fans are so calm.
Yeah,
They're so. I can't wait for the day when we're actually bad and like the city just gets burnt down. Like,
by the way, I want to get something up here, Curtis. What? I'm gonna call you out here because I have you. We agreed to a goddamn fantasy trade, and then you just went quiet on me. You ghosted me.
Honestly, I've kind of not gonna lie, I kind of forgot I was in that league.
Well, I'm not surprised considering you're 2-8.
I mean, to redeem myself in the league I actually been paying attention to that I have was a $50 buy-in. I am 9-2, so
I mean that doesn't help our league. I want to boost the reputation of the Fluge friends.
No, don't worry. I'll second half of the season I'll try to bounce it back.
Okay. I mean, it's nearly 2023.
It's nearly almost.
Curtis, while you're here, how about we just finish off and we just quickly go through. Do you have any more questions for us, or should we just go?
No, I'm good. Go. You guys go.
Okay. So, Alex, sorry again, because I didn't get to finish on the last episode. Did you talk about PK?
No, we didn't. That's why I left it there.
Okay. Perfect.
Everything that's there, we did not talk about.
Okay. So, since our last time I was on, at least, some big news has come out of Montreal. I believe it's January 13th. The Montreal Canadiens are hosting the Nashville Predators. I'm going to the game.
Hey.
And they're not. I really like how the Canadiens have done this. They have sort of framed this as a homecoming. They will be honoring PK Subban, the now retired defenseman, who, as they put it, and I think everyone puts it, the most probably electrifying player they've had in my lifetime, at least. I think this is Kent Hughes and that mending offense that needed to be mended. And apparently, I think Chantal Macabé, obviously head of their PR stuff, told French media that apparently they were going to bring Andrei Markov in this as well, but in the notice he was given, he can't travel from Russia for it. But they do plan on doing that sort of down the line because, I mean, let's be honest. I've said this before. He doesn't win a Norris Trophy without Andrei Markov, and those two were sort of joined at the hip forever. Curtis, go ahead.
I did not hear about this, so I have a question.
Yeah,
they're not retiring his number, are
they? No, they're giving him a.
Curtis,
I think it's just
that caused mayhem. That caused absolute mayhem.
Listen, if he played for any other team, he probably does get it because again, he won at Norris, but he's just Olympic gold medalist. It's just. We have to argue for Carey Price to get his number done. PK is not getting. But anyway,
he was to be fair, he was a bench guy on the Olympic medal team. But
he should have been on it though. Let's be honest. Anyway, you know what?
He's a world junior gold medalist.
He is, yes. I'm personally very happy that he gets a proper goodbye. Something I saw on Twitter, I completely forgot about this. Do you guys remember what happened in PK Subban's last game as a Hab?
No. You're probably the only one that remembers.
That's too insider baseball for me.
Him and Alexei Emelin, who were teammates at the time, accidentally made contact. I think Emelin got him in the head with a knee. Subban was stretchered off the ice. That was his last game as a Hab, and obviously he missed time. That was a disastrous season. He got traded. So and that's not even getting into the stuff with the trades and that famous turnover in the game against the Kings. This wasn't going to happen under Marc Bergevin, and I am beyond pleased that he is. And it sounds like Markov will get one too, and we all know how that ended and how ugly and unfortunate it was. I'm just happy that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon are really honoring a guy that means so. I've said this before. If you drive into the city, like going east, you see PK Subban's face on the side of the children's hospital there. A guy who's meant the world to the fans, the city, was thrown out and sort of kicked on his way out. I'm really, really personally happy that PK Subban's getting a proper return and a proper send-off from Habs fans. He deserves it.
And it's nice it's against Nashville.
Yeah, that was a good touch. Right. Yeah.
Do you think his number should be retired?
No. And again, any other team, yeah.
No. I don't think any other team either.
If he was a Columbus Blue Jacket, and he won the come on, Rick Nash got his number retired. What did Rick Nash win? Individual award wise, think he may have a Rocket. Does he even have that?
Yeah, he had a Rocket. That's about it.
Yeah, PK Subban would have his number retired in the market like that, but Montreal is just maybe if he won a cup, maybe.
Quick hot take. I think that number should only be retired for Hall of Famers.
So okay, I think know my answer to this. Do you think Carey Price's number should be retired, Curtis?
Ooh, at the end of his career makes that tough.
What do you mean?
No, I think it's an obvious.
He's gonna get
talking about.
I think he's gonna get his number retired.
He's gonna get his number retired because he's the best goalie that they've had since the legendary goal. But like the other thing, like we were talking about with PK, the bar is pretty high in terms of the goalies' numbers that are retired in that building. So
most wins, most games played. Best numbers up there, except for like people who played in the 40s before there was color on TV.
Okay, first of all,
Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, but then you bring up the accolades. But then you bring up then I think you
two things.
Bring up the accolades.
You have to remember that some of their best goalies played during a time where they only played like 30 games a year. So
exactly, and Carey Price like average like 60.
Okay, by that logic, do you think Keith Yandel should be in the Hall of Fame for just being the longest serving NHLer without?
I'm not just saying that though.
No.
Carey Price has the most wins in franchise history. Come on.
Fair. I know. He is one of the best goalies of the 2000s.
And, he's the best. And let's not forget,
that's so cap. He didn't even win a cup. He didn't even win a cup.
Remember, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, not just the NHL. Let's also not forget, he is statistically possibly the best Canadian goalie at the world stage. His goals against average is below 1. Below 1. Anyway, I just want to. So you're on the fence about it.
No, I think he's number. No, I was saying he's more on the fence of like, okay, let me put it like this. He's definitely gonna get his number retired in Montreal.
Okay, good.
He will almost like 97% make the Hall of Fame. Okay, all I'm saying is that I have a couple goalies in the 2000s that I put over Carey Price, and that might be a hot take.
Do tell.
But Henrik Lundqvist.
Oh.
Get out of here! At least he's won a cup.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't won a cup. You're right.
He lost in 5 in the finals, just like Carey did. It's similar, and then career shortened by injury. The similarities between Lundqvist's career and Carey Price's is very, very concerning.
I think Lundqvist is. I'm sorry, I'm putting Lundqvist ahead of Carey Price.
I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think that's so wrong. Again, where's the gold medal? Where is it? I think he has a world.
Oh no! He won a gold medal. I'm gonna stop you right there about the gold medal.
He did win a gold medal.
I'm gonna stop you. Okay, but that's fine. When did he win a gold for Team Sweden?
For Sweden at the Olympics.
Oh, he did. Because what year?
The same one the Sedins won, 2006.
That's true. But even if he didn't, I don't know if that's necessarily fair to throw that on him when you have how many of Canada's players are the best in the NHL? All of them. I don't think that's fair to throw. I don't think that's fair to throw on him. Pardon?
Including the goalie.
Okay.
I would argue Canada's goaltending supremacy has really dropped off in the last.
Now it's awful. The goaltenders it's all the Russian goalies now. Canada and the US are screwed. I saw it was like Kemper was like still rejected starter. I'm like, we're boned.
I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Ben, if we're talking about goalies, I'm not saying he's better than Carey Price. His name came to mind since we're talking about goalies and Hall of Famers. Is Tuukka Rask a Hall of Famer?
Oh yeah.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, is he gonna make it into the Hall of Fame? I would argue that he is.
Well, I think so. You got to be careful saying he has a cup because he wasn't the starter. But I mean, I think you just have to look. He should have had one, but Brad Marchand just gave it away to Alex Pietrangelo, and just sort of that whole thing happened. I think he is. See, here's the thing. It's just he's just part of that line of amazing Finnish goaltenders too. Like it's crazy how they just pump him out, and it's like, yeah, goodbye, Rinne and Brad.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe how many great goaltenders were in the early 2000s. Because then you also look at a guy like Pekka Rinne.
Yeah,
probably one of the better. He's another one of those Finnish guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably
could go on and on.
Brian Miller's in there too. Luongo.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, man. There's a lot, and now we're grasping at straws for something.
The Russians have probably. They have the top 2 for sure. I'd argue they have the top 3 goalies in the NHL.
Yeah, so
Vasilevsky and Shesterkin are your top 2.
And
it's not even close. I don't even think it's close.
Who do we put higher, Sorokin or Hellebuck?
So I'd put Sorokin.
You also have him in fantasy.
No, but before I drafted him in fantasy, there's a reason I drafted him in fantasy. But I would argue I'd put Sorokin above Connor Hellebuck.
By the way, we were talking about some Nashville Predators. I didn't know this. So whoever put this on the doc, thank you.
Yeah.
Roman Josi becomes the Preds all-time points leader.
Yeah, last night.
Oh God, was that David Legwand? No, not David.
Yeah, it was David Legwand.
Was David Legwand who he passed? That's insane. That's a stat now. Listen, I don't know if he's at the end of his career. I would assume eventually, whenever Shea Weber's contract is done, I would assume 6 is up there. Otherwise, but like you got to think Roman Josi is going to be up there eventually with Shea Weber, and of course Pekka Rinne, I think, is up there.
I don't
know
if they've done it yet. I'll double check.
It has to be. But Roman Yossi, like he's a guy who you could see up there.
Yeah, Pecorine was the first jersey.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, imagine David Legel. Oh God. Oh my. Okay, you know what, Curtis? Since we are going a little long here, oh God, I'm gonna list you some topics here, and I want you to tell me how you want to finish off.
Okay.
There are some messy ones here. The Hamburglar retires. Kevin Hayes gets scratched in Philly. Artem Zub. The Tampa game with the Leafs. There's or Phil Kessel's Iron Man streak may be ending. Which one do you want?
What one do I want? I guess we'll talk about Phil. We'll bring it back to the Penguins a little bit. We'll talk about Phil.
So he's
bring
yet
it back to the Penguins. Okay.
Yes.
All right. No. All right. Okay. That's how we're going to start.
Penguins legend.
That's
Phil Kessel.
That's how we're going to start it. Yeah.
I mean, that's where he's won all of his cups. So.
Okay.
Now,
I can't wait to tell people that Phil Kessel played on Arizona, and they're not going to believe me.
No. So Phil Kessel, obviously the all-time Iron Man, 1,000+ games. It's incredible. The other day was benched. He hasn't been sat for a game, but it seems to be the vibe is as the Penguins get help. No, the Penguins, damn it, the Penguins are never healthy. As Vegas get healthy and bodies start coming back, he could be sat, and the streak could end. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not nearly as upset about this as I was for Kevin Hayes. No, not Kevin Hayes.
Keith
Yandel, yeah. Jesus, what am I doing here? I'm all mixed up. Maybe because I'm thinking because Yandel went on TV and was like, Kevin Hayes getting scratched. But I'm just, Curtis, I'm not as upset about this as I think I was with Philly and Yandel. How about you?
Nope, I'm happy. He can send the press box, eat some hot dogs. I'm okay with it.
Nah, you guys are both incredibly wrong.
All right,
Phil Kessel is a national treasure.
Just remind me, Alex.
He is. No,
do not disrespect Phil Kessel. Name me one other. When's the next time you think we're going to see a guy like Phil Kessel? I just want to put that out there.
Never.
He is he is a damn anomaly. He is a guy that can drink
Coke on the bench and eat hot dogs.
I mean, to be fair, Nikola Jokic is kind of like that. Drinks all his Pepsi and Coke and all that. But he
slimmed down. Nikola Jokic slimmed down.
Same with Ovi. Ovi drinks his Pepsi on the bench.
Ovi's a...
I don't appreciate this Phil Kessel disrespect. I don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's sad, but he already has the records, and there's no one close to him now.
No,
it's okay. Just let him have it. It's fine. He already has it. Who cares?
Fair enough.
He's already without it. He's already a Hall of Famer. So who cares?
Yes, he is. I wasn't sure about that. He's a Hall of Famer.
Adam.
No. Don't. He is a Hall of Famer. I don't care what the writers say. He is a Conn Smythe winner. He is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion.
Why was I being insulted before I even said a word?
Because I knew what you were going to say.
He's a capital.
You were going to say he's not a Hall of Famer.
I wasn't going to say that.
He's a capital H Hall of Famer.
I don't think he's first ballot, but I think he's a Hall of Famer. But that's not what I was going to say.
I'd argue he's kind of first ballot.
Okay, Curtis, if you're going to go now, I think it's a good thing to finish off with this question. Who has a better chance of being a first ballot Hall of Famer? Phil Kessel or Carey Price?
Build the thrill, baby. Let's go. Come on. All day, every day.
Curtis, why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can find you?
Wait. Are we not going to talk about the one obvious thing that we got into a fight about just before we end?
Okay. Yeah. So
do you want me to explain it?
No, I'll do it, okay. Alex. I'll do it. So
you'll probably fabricate some facts.
Episode, obviously, I was sick, and then all of a sudden I start listening to it, and I hear you got. First off, you named the episode the Martin Brodeur Trophy to be like, we should rename the Vezina. Thanks, Daniel. No, it shouldn't. Bitch, stop it. Anyway, but before that, you talked about renaming trophies like the NBA just did, and you decided to talk about the goal scoring trophy, which is named after the late great Maurice Richard. and said it should be renamed to the Alexander Ovechkin Trophy if he passes Wayne Gretzky. I will say this out.
When he will.
Because I did, yeah, he will. I did listen to that full segment.
Yeah.
I do agree with your points. I hear them. But it's blasphemous.
No, and I have more points. I have more points. He's cool. Okay. Let me say this. He is on he's scoring at a higher pace than him. He is scoring at a higher pace than him. The Rocket Richard is about who scores the most goals. Correct?
Yes.
We're in agreement. That's what the award is named after for. That's what he's named after. Alexander Ovechkin has won that award 9 times in his career. 9. And he's going to be the greatest goal scorer of all time if he already isn't. So I don't know how you can't name it. That's like not naming the Wayne Gretzky Trophy.
See, you know what's funny is I'm pretty sure, isn't there a CHL trophy or something that's the Wayne Gretzky? They got to change that. Because even if the CHL is like, we have that, I think the NHL just says, yeah, I don't care.
CHL's trophy, the Wayne Gretzky trophy, is like either top scorer or top, I don't know, I have to look it up.
And I think they have a Bobby Orr one too. Listen, Alex, here's the thing. I don't think it needs to be renamed, because here's the thing. Here's my big problem is, I don't think Alexander Ovechkin's legacy is going to go anywhere. I think there is a generation who is starting to lose appreciation for that generation of French Canadian hockey and how important it was for the sport.
But no one. Okay, let's start with none of the awards that are named after people, except Daniel Curtis and Alex Baumgartner, because the latter two work at the Hockey Hall of Fame, have any idea why these awards are named after people. And the only reason people know Ted Lindsay is because it's constantly talked about on TV, because the
I
NHLPA
didn't know about like all that till he died, and everyone was like, he was about. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, like that's my thing, is like, okay, the Hockey Hall of Fame exists. I might go visit Curtis sometime. I'm going to go read about the history of hockey. I don't know.
Throw some eggs at him for saying that Kessel's a better Hall of Famer than Carey Price.
I will come. I won't throw eggs at him because I want to get in for free. But I just think no one's removing history, but I don't think the way it's done right now is like embracing history to me. Like also the awards for goal scoring, not for being French Canadian. Like I understand the significance there, but the Ted Lindsay Award is named after Ted Lindsay for his impact on the NHLPA, and it's a player voted award. You had the gall to do it when I wasn't even here. No, that's totally fair. I had to talk about it that episode.
I was shocked listening to it. I nearly had to go to the hospital because I'm like, how dare you?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
And then Daniel completely agreed. He didn't put up any much of a fight. I was like, how dare you? Anyway, yeah, you guys want to say anything else before we wrap up?
No.
I was just happy to be here for that. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm happy. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, man. If you want to plug anything, Curtis, go ahead.
You can find me on Instagram at cmartin2292. You can find me on Twitter at cmartin387. You can also find most of my work on overlinesports.ca, as well as many other student-based work. So, check that out. If you are a student listening to this, reach out to us. We have a little contact us thing at the bottom of the website, or email me at curtis.martin387. I'm releasing a Canada preview for the World Juniors. It's hopefully going to be out by the time this is out. So check that out. And looking forward to one of the best times for hockey, which is the World Juniors.
And also email Curtis saying that Phil Kessel is not a better Hall of Famer than Carey Price. Anyway, thank you for coming on, Curtis, as always. Alex, how are you?
I'm good.
I don't know when this is going to be in the episode, but you'll figure it out.
Probably at the end.
Fun talking to Curtis, eh?
It was. Always good to have him on.
We got a few more things we can just wrap up here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Kevin Hayes getting scratched in Philly. Oh man, I didn't see. First off, we never talked about how Tony DeAngelo got scratched, which I don't think was a surprise to anyone. But Kevin Hayes, the leading scorer, it seems to be that Torts doesn't like the way he's playing away from the puck.
Yeah, it's the defense. You know how it is. Yeah, it's tough time. I just don't. It's weird in Philly. Not surprising, but that doesn't make it less weird. It's got to be. No one's surprised at how meh they are, but I just think, like, do you think I feel like that's the most coach thing Torts has done, because he's their leading scorer, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, he's on pace for like 70 points.
Yeah, and he's like, well, he's not good at the on defense, so you got to scratch him. But like, in a way, I understand his reasoning. Like, what was he brought in there for? What was the main thing?
He was trying to like fix the culture or whatever, because he was like, yeah, locker room blows.
Yeah. And I guess this is just how you do it. I just thought it was extremely surprising that you scratched your leading goal scorer. Like, I don't think there's a lot of coaches who would do that.
So yeah, when it comes to scoring, so he's no longer Konechny is their leading goal scorer. Hayes has the most assists, and I'm trying to exactly get points up here. Hayes is tied for points as well. That's, man. By the way, Owen Tippett, 16 points in 29 games, not bad. Good for him. No. By the way, I love that Tony DeAngelo is a minus 15.
That shouldn't come as a surprise.
I want to look up. How is Carter Hart playing now? Because he started the year really well.
It's supposedly, as I saw on Twitter, he's been playing really well, and today was supposed to be his breakout party because he was in Toronto.
9-11. Well, do you know what? The Leafs always play very fun games in the next gen games. Now, obviously, because I was at work, I didn't even know the game was happening, much less that it was on. The Leafs won. How was it?
Yeah, no, it was I'll call it a sloppy game considering how they played against Tampa Bay. Could have been, again, it's just there's a history of these games where it's just a mess. They were up 4-1. The game ended 4-3. As you can imagine how just wonderful that was to watch. Justin Hall was the best player in the first two periods, which is always, good to see. But no, it was just I would argue it was a sloppy game overall.
Can I be honest with you that I keep forgetting Justin Hall exists? And I think as you said to me last time I mentioned Justin Hall and not noticing him, it's a good thing.
That's a good thing. He's not as bad as he was at the start of the season.
Which is good. Good for them. It's just Morgan Riley. As long as Morgan Riley's gone, then Justin Hall's fine.
Yeah.
Apparently he's supposed to be back early in the new year. I saw from the entire trade.
Yeah, that's what the projections are. And they're doing fine without him. And no, I'm not in the camp of we don't need Morgan Riley.
Man, Alex, what happened to Rasmus Sandin? Because I just saw on Twitter that he wasn't returning. I'm like, what happened? Another man down.
Yeah, he's on IR. They announced, I think, yesterday. So that's another defenseman down. So they recalled. Guess who they recalled?
Was Mac Hollowell not called up before
that?
He
was. No. They had sent him. They sent him back down because they didn't need him. But now they need him again.
Somebody told me the other day, it's funny, if he was still on the team, Marincin would have played by now.
Oh God, that's just tough.
Alex, can you please explain to me why some Twitter's accounts are square profile pictures again?
I think it's like I'm not 100% sure. Just my hypothesis. I think the square ones are for the gold verification. That's just my guess. Is Elon
stepping down officially?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I give up.
At least before it was just the people that sucked about Twitter. Now it's like notifications.
Now it's everything.
Buy Twitter and get exclusive.
You saw that, right? I got 2 notifications last night for that. One for my main and
check mark and join quality conversation. I don't care. I just want to know when there's trades.
I want to know where the quality conversations are because I don't see them.
It's Twitter. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if you guys had mentioned it before, but condolences to Victor Mete and his family and losing his grandmother.
No, we didn't talk about it on Sunday.
That's awful.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
tough.
for him. Obviously a former Hab as well. That's awful. You never want to see stuff like that happen.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention one thing in regards to that, Alex.
Oh, I
Did
know.
you
I
see?
know where you're going with this.
I'm not going to say his name, but did you see it? I just want to say that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
writer should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. I get why he's an anti-gun person, but I think trying to drag Carey Price's name through the mud for the McDermott stuff was disgusting in my opinion. I just wanted to mention that, but most importantly, and I'll say it again, like just condolences to Victor Mete.
Yeah.
Obviously, I lost my grandmother a couple of years ago. It was more health problems as opposed to sort of what happened to Victor Mete's grandmother. But I've been there. It's never easy. My grandmother, I felt it, and I hadn't seen her for years, and she lived in the UK, and I'm pretty sure Victor Mete had a really close relationship with his. So I can only imagine how he's feeling. Other Leaf stuff, just quickly. That Tampa game before, I thought this was a really good quote, Alex, to sort of lighten the mood here. Jon Cooper, I'm assuming this is why this is in the doc. Jon Cooper was asked what Nick Paul has brought to the lineup, and he said 2 goals against the Leafs in Game 7. I thought that was an A+ line.
That was a good. You got to give him credit. You got to give him credit where credit is due. But I put Jon Cooper in the doc for his quotes after the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw some of the things. I have them here. I don't have them here. I'm moving towards them when I find them. But essentially, he was just talking about. He goes, "So this is Jon Cooper on the loss. I said to the guys, I don't know what part of the game they reinvented that had us perform like that, but it was, I don't know. Note to self, don't come to Toronto 3 days before the game. That was painfully evident. We didn't even show up this evening." And he followed that up with, that was a complete game. I'll tell you that. A complete game of a complete bag of you know what.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't blame him. Yeah, no, that was what was like Tampa like 4 shots through like a significant portion of the game?
Yeah, they had like 20 shots by the end of the game. The Leafs had 40. I know it's a good win because of that response.
Oh,
I love Jon Cooper. Like Jon Cooper, as you know.
Really?
As you know.
Yeah.
But that
to you what Jared Bednar is to me, yeah.
Yeah. But that's how I knew it was a good win.
Man, what's going on with that ref? Was it Dan Kelly who shoved Michael Bunting? Do we know what's happening? That was
probably nothing.
It sucks because, if I was a player, I'd want to push him back, but they can't do that, or they'd probably be suspended for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's some people that think it's a big deal. I'm just let's move. Not that let's move on. I'm sure things were said out off the ice to him, but everyone downplayed, like Keefe, Bunting were like, emotions are running during a game. I guess it is what it is. Like I wasn't expecting them to cause a scene after the game, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Obviously, I don't think you should do that, but I don't think it's a huge deal.
Do you want to talk about Artem Zub's contract?
No, we can talk about the Bruin stuff. I think that's a little more important.
I was going to say, do we want to wait for Daniel so we have some more time to digest it?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. We'll record next week.
I just love how the thing is, so no one did anything wrong, but we're going to fine-tune all this because of the Bruins. We can open next episode with that.
Yeah, sure. We'll leave it in the doc.
Let's do something a little fun to finish the episode.
Okay.
Man, there is never... You talk about how Phil Kessel is a folktale. Another one is the great Andrew Hammond. I love this guy. He has retired officially from hockey. Apparently, he had an injury that I think low key wasn't his NHL like starting career like railroaded by injuries too. Anyway, Andrew Hammond has retired from the game of hockey. It's weird to think he only played 67 regular season games. Wow. And in those games, he was a 916. Like, he was a great Hab. I know, we'll all remember what he was as a Sen, But like, man, low key, he was a great Hab. I loved Andrew Hammond. I hope he just rides into the sunset and does whatever, like get a McDonald's promotion or something. Like, I've never sort of realized like how short a career can be, and like how much he can really like put him in the Hall of Fame or something.
No,
hold on.
What? No, I'm gonna pretend you didn't just say that. I'm gonna pretend you didn't just say that.
Something in the Hall of Fame to do with Andrew.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Fun stories bit, not put him in.
Oh my god.
Like a fun little bit, like, you know what I mean?
You
like,
put him in as a builder.
I don't know about that.
No,
just do like a fun thing. Like if one day they're kind of like fun stuff, put Steve Dangle, just put fun stuff.
Put fun stuff.
So Steve would be a builder one day. He should be in the Hall of Fame one day, by the way. I think he should. But like,
don't tell Mike that.
He was I know. But like Andrew Hammond was just, I think he's just a great little like note in NHL history.
Yeah, it's a good story, and like, I mean, like, just what he didn't drag that team, but he definitely was an important piece. Like, you talk about the importance of having a good goaltender, and like, he was a good goaltender. Like, he was what he killed it for the Sens, man. Everyone will remember that. Everyone will also remember Curtis Lazar eating a burger off the ice.
See, the moment I saw that trending on Twitter, I knew something happened with Andrew Hammond. I'm like, no, what's happened? Hammond, and he was gone. Oh man, what a hell of a freaking career, though. Hell of a freaking career. Okay, that was fun, Alex.
It was.
Thanks again to Curtis. We just thought we'd do a quick little thing and add that stuff at the end. We'll open next episode talk about the Mitchell Miller stuff because the Bruins dumping it right before Christmas. Bastards. I'm assuming there's no Hockey Night in Canada this, but excuse me.
No.
Hockey never plays on Christmas, do they? They're not like the other sports. Low key,
no,
Alex.
They know.
I hate sports on Christmas because I'm like, I want them to be with their families.
It's just basketball, right?
Does the NFL not do it?
No, they do. They play Christmas Eve. I don't think they play Christmas Day.
All right. Maybe Tom Brady was like, well, I was going to say he wants to spend time with his family, but I don't think he does.
I don't think so.
Apparently, like, they're actually doing the divorce really well, and something like they live on opposite ends of a lake. It's just like imagine being rich.
Yeah.
Man, it'd be great, wouldn't it? I wouldn't even like need a mansion. Just give me a condo in downtown Montreal and just let me build Legos. That's all I want.
Oh, man.
Be a good life. Be a good life. You see, I had a little desk and a computer in your setup behind you. That's new.
This? No, just a TV. I had it. It's been there for a couple months.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I always want to put something on there, but I never know what.
My glasses haven't helped. Like
that's okay.
That's
okay.
Problem. All right. My dog's here, but I'm sure you saw her
multiple times. Hello.
Carrie doesn't care about the podcast. Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. The second time you've heard me say that, but yeah. Bye.